Welcome to Credit Recovery, the show that advocates for the empowerment of Canadian consumers, promoting financial literacy, discussing all topics of credit, finances, career, and businesses, and more. I'm Kevin Hodge. Today we're talking about disputes versus paralegal-backed audits. So we want to jump right into this. So I want to provide you with some helpful information. One of the main factors that separate paralegal-backed audits from 99% of the credit repair companies is that they're engaged by a paralegal. And when I mention audit, I'm referring to legal research, analysis, application of the law to the relevant facts. So credit repair is an industry where most companies do nothing more than send credit report disputes, and then they resend them, and then repeating that process over and over again. So we need to be clear that disputing credit bureaus may have some level of success, but the results are typically poor and temporary. So clients usually come to us because they're dissatisfied with using a dispute service. And, there's tons of them. And the fact is that credit bureaus typically look down on credit repair companies. One of the tests is to ask, well, do you have a lawyer or paralegal on board? And one of the things that a credit repair company cannot do if they do not have a licensed lawyer paralegal is they can't threaten, court or any monetary damages that you deserve. So we need to be clear that there may be some level of success, but again, the results may be poor and temporary. So perhaps the most surprising thing is that you can actually send disputes yourself, and a disputing service is basically doing something that you could do on your own. And the type of disputes that we suggest are things you could do yourself are straightforward updates. And what I mean by that is that the straightforward updates, such as updating a new telephone number, are usually not complicated to the average consumer. However, when it comes to disputing the accuracy and the completeness, there's several laws that are required knowledge to bring forth a proper and full dispute, and this is where it gets complicated. This is where audits are suggested. So how are audits different, right? The act of auditing creditors breaks away from the traditional model of repeatedly sending dispute letters to credit bureaus. When we audit the creditors, we legally demand that they show us proof, we call it validation, of their ability to report these items on your credit. Oftentimes, they can't provide proof, so they're required by law to remove those items from your credit. What you have to remember is that there's no law that says a creditor or a lender shall report credit or personal information to your credit report, right? And in fact, they are to obtain your express and informed consent. And usually that happens when you first apply for the credit product, right? It's similar to getting a speeding ticket going to court. What happens if the police officer doesn't show up, or what if the office cannot show proof? They dismiss your ticket. And that's how it works with auditing creditors. So here's the breakdown. If the audit isn't perfect, it's imperfect. If it's imperfect, it's inaccurate. And then if it's inaccurate, it has to be deleted. And that's the power of audits. So why don't all credit repair companies do this, right? So performing audits takes more time, more resources, and more strategizing. And a few companies are willing to perform or partner with a paralegal or a law firm to complete that, right? Few companies are willing to create and continuously develop investigative research teams whose mission is specifically designed to uncover inconsistencies and customize responses to each creditor or the credit bureaus. So then you have to look at quality versus quantity. And as with most things, you want quality instead of quantity, right? And a company that takes the time, does the diligence, and employs the right resources. So a person in need of proper, thorough credit inquiries and case building can hire a company backed by paralegals or lawyers that does credit audits, and takes the advanced approach with the audits, which is the quality. Or you can go to, run-of-the-mill company that sends out repeated disputes, which is quantity. And if you do a little online research, you could see the results of those types of companies. Of course, the choice is yours. Our process is paralegal backed, and you can ask the credit repair companies if they do that. When we go after the negative items on your report, our paralegal engaged letters carry serious weight. Today's episode is brought to you by Lendit, and Lendit is a consumer guide that provides information to consumers so they know where to go when they are shopping for credit based on their score, so that they can stop getting dinged on their credit report and increase their chances of getting approved for credit. Thanks for listening to Credit Recovery. Before we go, be sure to show some love to your favorite podcast by leaving us a review. Stay tuned next week for our next episode. Thanks for tuning in.